Hi.
Uh, oh, it's down here. What the heck? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Sober Swole podcast. My name is Jake Howard.
And I go by DJ Swirl. What's up, everybody?
And tonight, before we introduce our
I
special
have fat
guest,
fingers today. Holy shit! I'm sorry.
dude,
Go ahead.
we're on them. We're doing good.
We were fantastic. Holy shit!
We got a couple shout outs to Royalty Nutrition. That's royaltynutrition.com. And to help me out with that is Warhorse.
Hey, it's Warhorse. Do you want your workouts to look like this? Or do you want your workouts to slay? When Warhorse picks his pre-workout, he wants it to slay. If you want second place, go with somebody else. If you want to be a champion, go with Royalty Nutrition.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Royalty Nutrition is a veteran-owned and operated supplement company that doesn't automatically use the cheapest ingredient possible when making their supplements. Check out a company that is dedicated to making the highest quality product for you and your wellness as you're making your way to your goals on your fitness journey. My next shout out of the evening will be to Royalty Nutrition. Save 15% when you use the code 37HAKE. That's 37HAKE at royaltynutrition.com. That'll tell David that I sent you. I don't get paid for it, but you get to save a little cashola. My next shout out of the evening will be Gorilla Gains. That's gorilla-gains with the Z.com. Check them out. They are a fitness apparel company that you can wear comfortably in and out of the gym. They also make great equipment that helps keep you safe while you train. Check them out and use the discount code JAKE15 to save you 15% on that entire order. Now, I have to hand the ball over to the Grand Chameleon, the Wizard. Passing.
Ladies and gentlemen, buy to buy. If you are shopping in store or online and you bit off more than you can chew, you don't have the time to move it, you don't have the muscle or the cargo, the vehicle to get it where you need it to be, hit us up at buytobuy.com. We will take care of you from the time that you buy until the time that we say goodbye. If you have some kind of content that you create and you want to upgrade, you want to step your level up, let us know. Buy to Buy Studios is the content creation side of the business, and so what you see right now is part of that. If you have an audio podcast, you're just now getting started like our guest, or you have a show that you've been running for some time and you need to elevate that for your following, let us know. We will help elevate your content. High quality, low cost, sound decision. That's it for me.
And let's bring our guest on. Tonight, we have a special guest. Her name is Nicky Cadman. We met on Instagram because she knows a lot of people I know from my House of Gains days. She's currently being coached by my good buddy, old Big John Arthur. But enough about me talking about you. Tell the folks who you are.
Yeah. So I'm Nicky, obviously, but I have been an athlete my entire life. Went from running track in high school, middle school when it all started to college, and ended up choosing soccer over all of that. Went from soccer to running marathons, and went from running marathons to finally lifting weights and joining the bodybuilding community. So that's been super fun, and I'm super excited to be on here today. So thank you for having me.
Of course. Now, we don't know each other at all, except for via mutual friends. But you've been pretty open on Instagram about not all the way, because not enough about your past for me to be like, who I know her 100%, but pretty open about certain things that have gone on in your life. And one of the big aspects about this show is dealing with sobriety and how to live without your drug or drugs of choice. And you made mention before that you, at one point in time, had an opiate problem.
Yeah. So I played soccer from when I was 4 years old and up until I was graduating from Kansas State University. And everything imaginable, like damage wise, I've done to my left knee. MCL, LCL, ACL, never had surgery. And my biggest thing to myself was, if I ever hurt my right knee, I'm just done. I'm not going to have surgery. I'm not going to do any of that. And it was my last semester at Kansas State, and I was playing for Manhattan Christian College. They recruited me to play for my last semester. So I was in 2 schools at once, and I ended up tearing my meniscus in my right knee. And the first doctor I saw was like, it's just a knee sprain. You're going to be fine. You can go back and play like tomorrow. And we had a game the next day, a pretty big game. And, I was on the ground crying within the first 5 minutes. Obviously not just a knee sprain. So went back to the doctor and saw a sports medicine doctor. And the doctor was like, you have a grade 1 tear in your meniscus. So super small tear, super minor. And he's like, here's tramadol and meloxicam. And I, combining those two, there was almost this euphoric feeling, being able to escape reality and feel numb constantly while going through one of the hardest transitions of my life, going from college to real life. Because let's be honest, college does not prepare you for real life. So I would do what I could to get my hands on it. Graduated from Kansas State in December of 2015, and I used consistently until about June of 2016. And if I couldn't find tramadol and meloxicam, it was hydro or it was oxy, and a lot of my money was going towards that. A lot of my time was going towards people who dealt, and I was seeing doctors here and there who would write me a prescription for whatever injury I was facing. So yeah, it was a rough road up until I quit in 2016, quit cold turkey. I was like, I can't keep doing this. I was losing friends. I wasn't making friends. I was lonely. I was angry, depressed, very, very depressed. I was in a very dark place in that time. And I ended up staying clean about until September of 2020. So right in the middle of COVID. And I ended up relapsing after a traumatic event, and quit cold turkey again on January 1st of 2021. And I haven't touched it since. So we re-began that journey, which I think is super cool, just to kind of look at the 2 different timelines and just to see how much I've learned from the first time and how I can apply that as I grow from that the second time. It's been hard, but it's definitely been a blessing.
So, all right. So you start your day, right? And then do you have like a constant want, or do you have just like randomly throughout your day as it goes?
And I don't know if it's just with getting older or what, but the only desire that I have is to never touch it again. And I don't keep pain meds in the house. The only medication I keep in the house is allergy medication, because Austin, Texas is terrible. But it's out of sight and it's out of mind. Every now and then, if I've like a pulled muscle or if I tweak my back in the gym, I'm like, gosh damn it. I need something, but it's nothing that an ice pack or a heating pad can't fix. And I think when you take your mind off of, hey, I need an immediate fix, and take it to, hey, how can I grow from this injury? How can I grow from this mindset? It's just a complete shift in mentality. And I can't say that, it was an easy like transition. Of course, after I decided to quit again, I was like, okay, well, how do I escape reality? And obviously, like you said, we don't know each other, but one of the biggest things that I hate hearing is fake it until you make it. I think it's a terrible saying. I heard someone say this about last year, and it was face it until you make it. And you face each day. And you and I have kind of briefly spoken about this. At what point do you get tired of letting addiction consume you? And at what point do you just want to face reality and be like, okay, whatever comes my way, we're going to face it. And if we struggle, but we're going to grow from it. And
that's when I was low key chewing your ass about drinking.
Yeah. And it's funny because I was talking to a friend who's a nurse of mine, and alcohol withdrawal is the only withdrawal you can die from, which is scary. And so, you know, I was out on the lake with some friends this weekend, and one of them was like, "So you don't have any vices?" I was like, "No, I've got a couple. I'm trying really hard to mask it, but it's also just, you know, what do you choose to be your struggle on a daily basis? Do you choose to be an alcoholic or a drug addict or whatever on a daily basis and let that define you and you place your identity in it? Or do you choose to deal with reality and, like I said, just grow from it? And like you've said, we grow from what we struggle from. And it's what we choose to kind of go all in on. Your vices or your virtues.
So Matt said, "Yep, yep." No, so Matt Shepard, I met him from an organization called FitOps,
Okay.
and he's a Navy veteran. We had him on the show. I'll send you the link to the show he was on.
Yeah.
I love him. He's also our biggest returning commenter in the live chat, and
I love it.
Shout
really
out
supportive.
to Flex Chef for the support, as always. Thank you, sir.
That Flex Chef. No, so speaking of the alcohol, so you said something to me. I don't think you knew, because you don't know me well, but I don't think you knew that I had been sober for over 6 years. And you said
No.
something about I'm never drinking again, and I was like, okay, prove it. You know,
It's over for a week. Yeah, and you know, it's funny, you're the second person within a week and a half that I've met that has been sober for 6 years or longer. I took my truck to the dealership because my stupid screen needed a software update. And I was talking to the service director, and I hope he sees this because he's gonna laugh. And we were just sitting in his office. I walked into his office to yell at him, and I had a cup of coffee in my hand because I woke up for the first time in my life with the worst hangover ever. And like, when I say that, I mean, I was drinking a handle of scotch a night when I was in undergrad. I was drinking a shit ton, and you know, went out 2-stepping for my birthday to Mavericks. Good old Mavericks. I love it. And I would walk off the dance floor, and there would be a drink waiting for me. Like, it would just get handed to me, or it was a shot, or whatever. And I woke up Sunday, had to go to church, and just couldn't function. I literally sat up, and I was like, holy shit. And it was rough. And I woke up Monday morning, had to take my truck to the dealership. I'm sitting in the service director's office wanting to yell at him, but even the sound of like a gentle voice was just making my head pound. And we were talking, and somehow we got onto this path of sobriety, like just this topic. And he was like, yeah, I've been sober for 6.5 years. And I was like, what's your journey? And he shared a story, and of course it's not mine to share, but you know, at the end I was like, I've tried staying clean from alcohol. I don't drink at home. I don't drink alone. Number one rule of mine. I have a wine wall in my condo. None of it gets touched. And it's just for decoration. I like the artistic design behind wine. I like collecting. And he said the same thing you said to me. He's like, so you drink in social situations? I was like, yes. But when I start, I don't stop. Like, it is binge drinking through and through. And he's like, so you're an alcoholic? And I was like, no, I binge drink. Like, there's a difference here. And he's like, there really isn't. He's like, you want to call it one thing or another. He's like, at the end of the day, if you can't stop what you start, that's literally the definition of addiction. And I was like, yeah, I want to stop drinking. And he, you know, he didn't say what you said. He didn't say prove it, but he's like, what's your plan? What is your plan? And that was the first time in a very long time that I had heard someone say anything besides, okay, well, go prove yourself. And he ended up giving me his number, and he was like, you need anything, you want to go to a meeting, you want anything, just hit me up. And he's now, I mean, I consider him a good friend after a week and a half of just knowing him and texting and communicating with my struggles and all of it. But yeah, so alcohol is my vice, and it sucks, but we're going strong for a solid 4 days.
Hey.
Yeah, and yeah.
So when it comes to that, because I don't know too much about opiates, I was a cocaine and Molly guy.
Okay.
But when it comes to alcohol, that's my bread and butter. You're gonna have to get real comfortable with letting some people go
Yeah.
that don't know how to support you not being drunk with them.
Right.
And then those people weren't going to be your people anyway. At the end of the day, and then you will find people that will be like, okay, none for her,
More for me.
more for me, and then that's fine too. One of the best things I did when I moved to Pflugerville was one of my multiple jobs I had at once was I worked security at Mavericks, and now I got to watch me out there being drunk and dumb, and I was like, that's why I don't do that, you know, because I have I don't stop once I start either, and there's actually a group of Marines, and we're all really good friends still to this day, and how we all really solidified our relationship in the Marine Corps was after work we'd be like, who can drink the most and still be awake in time for PT, you know what I mean, like it was back when the time when what was that movie, it was about the beer drinking team, it was the guys from
Beer Fest.
Never watched it.
Well,
Classic.
so we were like, we could do that, we could totally have a drinking team, let's start a drinking team. And my God, we didn't stop for years. Yeah. And then I'll get into more of my story on your podcast. But
and it's funny. I look back now. I look back to 10 years ago when I first had. I guess 11 years ago when I left for college. Right, like I started my freshman year. I was like, I'm never gonna drink. I'm never going to do any. Right, I'm gonna wait till I'm 21. I'm not gonna break the law. Gosh, I wish I could go back and slap 18-year-old me.
I'm saving myself for marriage.
Right.
And other lies.
The writing was on the wall 11 years ago. And I remember I'm still friends with 4 of my best friends from college. And it's funny, this year is the first year we're all living in different states. 3 of us were in Texas, and 2 others were in different states. But this is the first year we're all just separate, which is scary. But, I remember I stumbled into, all 4 of them were hanging out, and I stumbled into their dorm room, drunk off my ass. And I had a public speaking speech to deliver the next day. And it's like midnight. Haven't started it. Haven't done the outline. Haven't. And one of them sat up with me until 2 a.m. and made me rehearse and write that speech over and over and over again until I sobered up. And to this day, I give them credit for me graduating college. Otherwise, I wouldn't have made it past freshman year.
Dang.
But I look back now, I'm like, the writing was on the wall. The writing has always been on the wall. It's when do you choose to recognize it?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not always in your own handwriting, right?
Right.
Well, congratulations on making it past your freshman year, because alcohol wasn't the issue, but I definitely dropped out myself. So congratulations.
Well, thank you.
Only real G's don't graduate.
Yeah.
College is for chumps.
Freak sweet piece of paper, nerd. What, you mean you read gooder than me?
So what is your experience with cannabis? because I know a lot of people transition and they use it as like the come down to where they have a vice, but it's the lesser vice. I personally DJ'd for 20 years and I drank with the crowd, so that way I wouldn't be the unfun sober guy in charge of all the fun. So, but once I stopped, or once I made the transition to coming off of alcohol, I used cannabis to fill it up, and my life hasn't really been the same. It's been much better. So I don't know if you do it or not, but I'm curious what your experience is.
I'm a proponent of it. So I've dealt with certain traumas. Jake, you've obviously seen some of my posts on Instagram. And so I was diagnosed with PTSD back in 2020. So had a really rough night with alcohol. And I don't share this too often, too publicly, but I ended up pulling my gun on myself in front of a group of 4 friends who are no longer friends, unfortunately, but we were all sitting in a circle and it was an intervention for me. And I did not realize how badly I neglected my mental health in 2020 and just after the sexual assault over Labor Day weekend. And I was diagnosed with PTSD while I was on suicide watch in the hospital for 2 days. And I don't remember being there. Like, that is like, I'd wake up, freak out. They'd fill me with lorazepam and Ativan, and I'd go back to bed. And I remember waking up on my last day there, meeting with the psychiatrist, and he's like, I think you have some undiagnosed PTSD. He's like, we can give you medication. And for me, going back to the opioid addiction, I was like, I don't want it because I know I'm going to use it to feel numb. And the last thing I ever want to feel is numb. And so I kind of started looking to certain alternatives, and marijuana was one of them. And I was like, okay, well, we can give it a shot. And that is the one thing I don't want to say I will never become addicted to, but it has been the one thing that has been my saving grace. Because I don't rely on it the same way I would rely on alcohol or opioids. I don't want to feel lethargic. I don't want to feel like I can't control where I am. And so I do smoke. I mean, it's probably once or twice a month, if that, but it is one of my crutches. And I mean, I'm grateful for it. I am so very grateful for it.
Yeah, I smoke daily. Not like I don't do any tree. I don't do any like, I keep it low key because I have kids. But like right. I've found the balance that allows me to function at a very high level and to not, and it allows me to focus in on what I'm doing, oddly enough, so that way I don't get distracted by the other things around me. Which is, I think it's weird, but I'm an analytical kind of person, so it kind of slows my brain down, so that way I don't get overwhelmed or I don't, just burn out from what I'm doing. Right. But that plus caffeine, coffee, I'm a superhero.
I'll smoke every now and then if I'm just like, I need to go work out and I don't have the mental fortitude to go work out. I'll drive to the gym, take a hit in my car or outside my truck, and I'll go and work out and take a scoop of pre-workout. Best workouts ever.
Nice.
Best workouts ever. But yeah, if it's not weed, then I have a little vape pen with nicotine in it. I smoke, or I guess I vape. Super bad habit, but it distracts me from anything else that I could be doing.
Sure.
So, I mean, I'm not opposed to doing what I do.
So, what got you into competitive bodybuilding?
It's funny. So I got really, really out of shape. So I played soccer all throughout my childhood, early adulthood. Tore my meniscus in my right knee, but I was also a marathoner. And in 2016, I was diagnosed with hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. So having an enlarged left ventricle, which meant no more running marathons unless I wanted to drop dead in the middle of a marathon. And I don't want to do that. So I started lifting. I didn't know what I was doing. I was a soccer coach. I helped coach throughout college. I taught people swim lessons. And so I knew how to be a sports athlete, like an actual soccer player or track athlete, but I didn't know how to lift weights, which is really weird for someone who has grown up around sports her entire life. I'd screw around in the gym, like for our weightlifting sessions for morning practice or whatever. And I was in the gym one day and I was trying to do a lat pull down and I wasn't breathing through each rep. And the guy next to me turns to me, he's like, "You're going to herniate if you don't breathe. Like, you might want to try breathing." And I was like, well, I don't know what I'm doing here. And one of the trainers at the gym that I ended up working for a very long time, he was like, well, I'd love to give you a free session. And he got me into weightlifting and I got really, really out of shape. I was eating out every night. So I'm 5'4", to put things in perspective. I was about 136 pounds and at 28% body fat.
Yeah.
Right. My mom was super overweight after she had my half brother. And I realized I didn't want to be her at 21 years old and 250 pounds. I mean, I wasn't there yet, but I was on the fast track there. And I was like, if I'm going to change, I'm going to do something competitive. And that began bodybuilding. And I coached myself through my first season. Got called skinny fat at my first show ever. Didn't have a scale. So I was guesstimating and I was under eating by a shit ton. I think I was supposed to be eating like 1,800 calories 16 weeks out. And I think I was maybe getting 600.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Well,
I was never coaching myself again.
It's okay. Hey, if you pull up my pictures on NBC News Online, look at my first show when I coached me too. I get you.
Yeah. So I started off with OCB, went over to GBO, competed with GBO for a couple of years, and then dealt with the sexual assault, and switched over to the NPC at the beginning of this year. So it's been a fun ride. I've been competing since 2018, but definitely took some time off here and there. What about you? You convinced John to compete, right? So
yeah, that was me. Yeah, I was gonna say, how did you fall into the ever loving arms of one big muy grande Wanathan?
I walked up to him and smelled his food. I asked him if I could smell his food. I was in prep, so I just pulled out of my first round of rehab last year, and I just come back from Colorado as well. So this was March, and I was trying to be a wellness competitor coming into NPC. We didn't compete last year. But I walked up to him and I was like, can I smell your food because I'm in prep and it smells really good? And he's like, sure. Didn't know who I was. And we talked for about an hour and a half. And I was like, I need a coach. I need someone who's going to push me. I need someone. I have a nutrition coach, but I need a coach. And he agreed to take me on, and he is now my full-time coach. And probably one of my best friends.
No, he's a good man. He's one of my favorite people I met during my hog adventures.
Yeah. He's honestly the only person I've been around that no one has ever talked shit about.
Well, it's because the people that would have aren't there anymore.
Right.
Weird how that works.
Right. The ones who start the drama are the first ones to go. It's how it always is.
Well, after they stay and stink up the place for a while.
Right. Oh gosh. I love him, and he's the reason I'm stuck around hog. So
Yep. So I mean, like I haven't been back since like 2000. Shit, when did Diana compete?
I don't know who Diana is, so
She was one of my athletes. She was my figure athlete. That was in 2018. Yeah, I haven't been back in like 4 years, almost 5 years, something like that.
I think it's time for a visit.
That's something. That's a whole long story, but
Okay.
no, nope. I know that Victor and Derek sold it, and the new owners have. I don't know them, but they've taken it into a different a similar but different direction at the same time.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not there more than twice a week anymore. So I live off of 620 in Hudson Bend. In case anyone else out there wants to stalk me. Here's my address. Yeah, so I live about 45 minutes away from Hog. So the only days I go are the days I train with John.
Okay.
Yeah, so I needed to distance myself from all of that.
I get you. You. So I know a young man out there too. His name is Brennan, and Brennan Eggers. He's like 24. He
Sure.
owns Georgetown. He owns Georgetown Fitness.
Okay.
And then when I was out there, he was a boy, and it's really cool seeing this young man be like, "No, this is my gym. We'll go over here." Like,
Yeah.
oh, this is mine. So I mean, like, I don't know. I'm a bit behind, but yeah, Beer Fest is my jam.
Love it.
Oh, he's great. He is great. What was I gonna tell you? No, so John and I. So is that pizza place still open next door?
Oh, Double Dave's?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they have a lunch buffet.
Oh gosh.
So whenever it was like, whenever we were trying to grow, at least once a week we'd go over and like try and clear the buffet.
I'm gonna ask him if I can do that.
Probably not. That's probably one of the dumbest things we did.
Probably. There was one we were training, and one of his clients, Austin, who's just a sweet little kid. He's not little. He's like 24. Because I'm so old at this point.
Yeah. You just turned 29.
Yeah, now people know how to find me for sure. You want to tell them any more personal information?
Sure. Well, you want me to put your number out there too?
Oh gosh. But there's one time John and I were training, and we somehow got into the topic of pizza. Oh no, we were talking about food. And then we got into the topic of pizza. I was like, I can eat a lot of food, like a whole pizza in one sitting. And he's like, we are not doing that. He's like, absolutely not. And it was just, I think that was like the one comment I made that just allowed us to bond from there on out. And that and all the stupid shit I send him on a daily basis.
Well, so like like I said, I've known him for a long time, and there's really nothing you could say to him that he would be taken aback by.
I told him I scream like a penguin, and he's like, this doesn't surprise me. Like this, he's like,
Just,
okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then I sent him a little mini clip of a penguin waddling away.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, okay then.
Well, so like there was, when I was there, John was doing his own thing, I was doing my own thing, and there was Big Dave and his crew, and Big Dave's no longer with us, rest in peace.
Right.
And then there was another team that doesn't exist anymore. Just a couple coaches in and out. I know Bree's still there.
Do you say Bree?
Yeah.
She's a sweetheart. I love her to death.
Yeah. I remember when she first like showed up. Like she is just fresh out of college with her and her now husband.
Yeah.
A little naive to the world, but really hardworking person. But yeah, man, it's so wild. So John has literally been there since they opened the doors the first time.
Oh yeah, I mean he helped open those doors.
Yeah, he's the only person left. Like I was there before I started training folks there officially. But I helped break up. So I don't know if you know this, but the Hog used to be a. Oh, I'm frozen. That's cool.
I thought you were just being incredibly still.
No, that's the first time that's ever happened. That's
Ever.
impressive.
Ever?
Ever.
That new fancy schmancy laptop of yours.
It's okay. I've got the crazy sniffles, so
It's all right.
I'll
Anyway,
be on.
so Hog used to be in Albertsons grocery store.
Really?
Yeah. So
And
that's why. So I Derek Tittle gave me a sledgehammer and said, if you're looking to get some cardio in, why don't you go break up those places where the freezers used to be? Because there's big like curbs in the back where now the turf is.
Okay.
Yeah. So I broke those up.
Oh, that's awesome.
You know, and like, so I mean, a lot of my blood, sweat, and tears is in that place. And
Did you engrave your name into the wall, like carve your name into the wall too?
No.
Oh, I would have.
No, I was just happy to be there. Like that was one
Yeah.
of those things. Like you could tell it was going to be a.
It was. It's home.
Let
I
me
mean,
hit
like
this
no
refresh
matter.
button. Beep, boop.
Bye, Jake.
There he goes.
Bye, Jake.
I don't know what happened. That has literally never happened. We've been doing this for 2 years plus.
Oh wow.
And like, I mean, it doesn't take much for him to come right back, but like freezing up in the middle of the show like that, it doesn't happen. So you guys know a lot of the same people without having met each other.
Yeah.
Very
yeah. Which is, I mean, that just goes to show how small the bodybuilding community is, right?
Sure.
And so, I mean, I was talking to another friend, and he's like, "Do you know my nephew?" And he pulls up his nephew. I was like, "We've been following each other for the last 2 years on Instagram." Like, just out of the blue. And I was like, I met you, who works in small town Texas, and this guy lives in Houston, and we have worked out together before.
Right. And Texas is kind of big.
Texas is kind of big. It's weird. But it's like also small at the same time. Like you stay here long enough and you know, I mean, it feels like you know everyone.
That's
it
what
really
people
does.
say about out here. And I'm from Indiana, so everything is.
We're in Indiana?
I was born in South Bend.
Okay.
And then I grew up in Terre Haute.
Okay, so I grew up in Naperville,
Nice.
Illinois.
Very
yeah. Cool. Yeah. I swear, whoever's watching this is going to be able to, like, find out everything.
Yeah, they're going to be able to LexisNexis the shit out of you after this. For
right.
sure. Hope you don't have no skip tracing you're trying to avoid. Because this is not going to help for that. I tell you that right now. Whoa.
Okay.
There's a couple of warrants out. No big deal.
Obviously, there's some issues I still need to work out.
Yeah.
Hey, blank screen, Jake.
Hello.
Oh, you're back.
Here's me.
Hey, it's your show. We missed it.
Yeah.
Well, you said you wanted to hijack a show, and you kind of did. So
kind of did.
Mission accomplished.
Hey.
How much crap was she talking?
Oh, just talking about Naperville,
Illinois.
Oh, beautiful Naperville, Illinois.
You have no idea. Have you been there?
I'm from Peoria.
No way. I went to Nicky.
Yeah.
I need to stop.
Yeah.
What is your childhood? What's your favorite childhood pet?
Do you want my social too?
Don't answer.
What street did you grow up on? What are the last three digits on the back of your credit card?
It's 1, 2, 3.
Pardon me.
Are you dying?
Oh my gosh, I think so.
Is that your nicotine withdrawal?
No.
How
I am.
How's that going, by the way?
Good.
So Nicky,
are you quitting?
He's giving up dipping.
Okay.
It's my last addiction. My vice, yeah.
I was gonna ask, have you tried vaping? But I feel like that defeats the entire purpose of this podcast. Have you tried removing one addiction with another?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I got into bodybuilding.
Yeah. So I don't know if you knew this, but when I decided, so basically completely trashed a phenomenal friendship that I had, in part because of my drinking, but there were a lot of other mitigating factors. And I decided, so this friendship ended in like at the end of June, beginning of July. And I was like, I'm going to do a prep after completely drinking about 4 bottles of wine, 4th of July weekend. And I was like, I'm going to do a prep. And obviously, I'm not doing prep anymore because
Mm,
I ate Chick-fil-A for dinner.
mm. Chicken
But,
fillet.
but
I'm
no,
telling you. I'm telling your coach.
he knows. He knows.
And he's gonna be able to come find you and hold you accountable. Apparently.
He already knows where I live. That's okay.
I already sent him to the link. He's probably listening live. You know he's awake.
Oh gosh, yeah, that man doesn't sleep.
Yeah, I told him to go see a doctor, did they?
Did you finally?
He didn't read it. I'm onto your shit, you big bastard.
Oh gosh. I told him his sleeping habits are contagious because every other week, I'll text him. I'm like, dude, I didn't fucking sleep last night. And he's like, me neither. I was like, this is your fault.
Hmm.
You didn't sleep, so I didn't sleep. Even though we're 40
Obviously.
miles from each other.
That man.
I love
You
him.
know, he's never slept. He's never slept.
He's Batman.
Me, on the other hand, I'd go home. So I'd get up at 5. I'd prep all my food for the day. I'd be at the hog by 7 at the latest. And I'd leave at like 9, 10. And then
At
I'd
night?
be in bed. Mm-hmm. And
Oh
I'd
god.
be in bed. Mm-hmm. I stayed there unless I had to go do something else. Because it was like, if I'm not working with somebody, what if someone comes in and they need someone there? I'd rather them see me. Give me your money.
Are you still a coach?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I did. I'm all online. I mean, if people are out here, they can come train at my gym at my house, but I'm not going anywhere. I didn't like the culture out here where I was at, the lifting culture. So
That's fair.
I do me. I do okay. Most of my athletes are still in Texas.
Where do you live? What's your street address?
I live in Arizona in the desert. We don't have streets out here.
By the cactus? Cacti?
Yeah,
the
yeah, the big ones.
The tall ones.
Oh, I've said I've lived out. I live close to Queen Creek.
Okay. I have a friend in Flagstaff. I think
That's
he's
way
there.
far. That's way far from me. It's real beautiful up there, though.
It is pretty.
I live in the desert, for real.
Dude,
Ryan's
I have
been
cheesecake
here.
in the freezer that I've been I take a little bite out of my cheesecake every day. Oh gosh, I'm a terrible season athlete.
No, that's the little things that keep you sane. Anyway, no talking about Jake tonight. No talking about Jake. So, no, this isn't Jake. This isn't about Jake. This is about you. So, what is your biggest struggle when it comes to trying to balance work life and bodybuilding? So I know that's a pain in the ass for everybody, but what do you find works best for you?
So when I'm in prep, like actually getting ready for a show, I have to be at the gym by 4:30 in the morning. I'm awake by 3:30. Fasted cardio's done. by 4. I'm lifting by 4:30. If I miss my morning workout, my day is fucked. Like I work for corporate America. I sold my soul. Love it, but pays the bills. But
Yeah.
by the time I'm done with work, I'm fried. Like my brain, I'm asleep by 8 p.m. every night when I am in prep, and I try to maintain that schedule during the off season. But my biggest struggle is missing my morning workout, because if I do, it's a rest day, just automatic. That is my justification, which is terrible, absolutely terrible. But it's the timing of my workouts that have to be absolutely perfect, otherwise I'm screwed.
I get it. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that makes sense. No, my thing is I try and get up at 4. I'm up at 4 now,
Yeah.
and I do yoga.
Okay. How's that going?
Good. I can move again.
I love it.
Yeah, your boy was getting fat again. Still kind of is. Softer than baby shit. It is what
The
it
man
is.
who raised me tried to get my brother and I to do yoga, and then we both got grounded. This was about 20 years ago. Been
Okay.
kicked out of the whole yoga club. Well, so it was like 5 o'clock in the morning, and I was 7, and my dad's like, "We're doing yoga," and there was no attention span whatsoever. He's like, "It'll help you focus." I was falling asleep on the ground. I was like, "Go away."
It's pretty funny. I'll lay my mat out, and the girls will walk up and they'll get into like a down dog and say, "See, like, yeah."
How old are your kids? You have like 80,
Oh God.
right?
Yeah. Hang on.
He said, hang
13, 13, 11, 9, 3, 1, and cooking.
That's insane. Are you having a
Well,
boy or a girl?
I'm having a boy this time. So,
First boy?
for me, yeah. So Brittany was married before, and she had 2 daughters and a son with her ex-husband. So I have 3 stepkids.
Right.
And then we had Ruth, and then Marley, and then little Chris is cooking.
That's exciting.
I'm very
That's
excited.
And then baby number 8's going to come next year, right?
Dude, I was joking with Brittany about our annual baby. She didn't find it too funny. Couldn't figure out why. I don't know.
One thing she would.
You said you wanted a big family. I got you. What was wild was I always thought for years that I was sterile because during my Horan phase, I was slanging goo like it was my job.
Okay.
Official episode title.
Slanging goo like it's my job.
Yikes.
And
Oh gosh.
yeah, and I always figured, someone's out there raising one of my kids and hasn't told me. It's got to be. You're okay. Got her.
Damn.
Yeah, no. I guess Brittany and I's genetics are quite compatible, I suppose.
How long have y'all been married for?
Oh, we've been married. See, oh crap! So we got married in 2020, November 2020. So not even 2 years.
It's exciting though.
Slanging
Yeah.
Have
that.
fun kids together. I love it. It's like the Brady Bunch.
Mm-hmm. Well, we've been together for a long time. Like we were together via long distance before I even. So, because I worked oil in South and West Texas for a while, and then I had my come to God moment, got sober, and got into training. Then I moved to Pflugerville. Worked in Georgetown.
What was your come to God moment?
Well, my come to God moment didn't even get me sober. But I tried to kill myself. Long story short. And I ended up getting arrested.
Okay.
That'll do it.
That's a whole tale. That is a whole tale that would take some time. But yeah, so and then so I moved to Pflugerville with my boy Jeremy, got a job at Mavericks, got a job at the front desk at Gold's.
Which
in
Gold's?
Pflugerville. The one in Pflugerville. I don't even know if it's open anymore.
I was a trainer at the one off of Ben White for the longest time.
Okay. Yeah, so I was working at Mavericks on the weekends. I was working at Gold's during the week. Then I picked up a client, so I started officially training at the Hog. And then I also started selling supplements at all of the franchise-owned GNCs around Austin and then elsewhere in Texas. So
Okay.
I had 4 jobs at one point. It was pretty rad.
We've all done it. We've all done it.
It was cool. That was the best because it was always an accomplishment. The last job I quit was Mavericks. To this day, that's the best place I ever worked.
It's such a fun place. I was out there this past weekend, and it's such a fun place. I went to the one in Buda.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my boy Sean.
Huh?
My boy Sean is the manager out there.
Okay. I don't know who that is.
He's the tall, lanky guy. He can kick your head right off your body too, so don't fuck with him.
Yeah, so Stoney LaRue was there on Friday.
Yeah.
And Stoney LaRue was at the Pflugerville one like 4 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
And just the difference in performance. Like the Buda one was definitely set up for the theatrics and all of it. Whereas Mavericks, you've got like that hometown honky tonk, like not run down hall, but
it's more intimate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because I ended up getting pretty close with Leo. I was Leo's coach for a while.
Okay.
And yeah, because I was there for when he opened up the local RIP, and when COVID killed that business, and then when all the plans for Buda were getting done, like they had bought the land and stuff, and oh hey, if you ever get an inkling, because if you have Paramount Plus, I think you have it if you have Amazon Prime, but if you go back, you can find The Real World, right? You find the Austin season.
Okay.
And one of the love interests of one of the characters is this really pretty Mexican guy behind the bar named Leo. He was featured quite heavily in that season. And I was like, oh shit, that's my boy.
I'll make it a point to look for him.
Oh, he just shows up, and you're like,
so I started visiting Austin in 2013. And I would come out and dance with Country Strong. So one of my good friends at that time would let me come visit her, and we'd go out dancing at Mavericks, Wild West, dance across Texas, Midnight Rodeo when it was Midnight Rodeo.
Was Graham's open then too?
I don't remember, but there was one on 5th Street, and I can't remember the name of it to save my life. There was a dance hall on 5th. And we'd go out to Mavericks, and I remember like this night as if it was 3 weeks ago. And I was at Mavericks, and I was drunk off my ass. And I was literally just spinning in circles by myself.
Mm-hmm.
And the older I've gotten, the more I realized how annoying it is to dance with drunk people when you're two-stepping. It's so fucking annoying. They just get bouncy and touch you. What the fuck are you doing? Am I wrong?
No, you're not. That's funny.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's kind of fun to look back and see how far you've come as a human being.
right?
Don't you think?
Oh my gosh. I don't drink the same way I used to. Like, I'm not drinking out of a bottle of
Me
vodka.
either.
I'm excited. I know you and I talked about this, but I'm excited. I don't even want to call it like a come to Jesus moment, but I'm excited for that moment when it's like, I'm done. Like, and I don't like speaking in absolutes because I mean, we're human. We can't live by absolutes, but I cannot wait for that moment where I'm just like, I'm fucking done forever. Like, whatever that moment is, like, I want it now.
Well, so we talked your last time when you were like, you got pulled over and you were scared.
Yeah.
And I said, it is basically along the lines is you getting a DUI what it's going to take?
Gosh, I hope not.
But you know what I mean? Like, wouldn't it be better to be proactive?
Yeah. I told you this straight up. Getting a DUI is my biggest fear. Like, I don't know what it is, but just being established in my career and being involved with the church and all of that, I think that's just the one thing that mentally I'm like, that's gonna fucking ruin me. Mm-hmm. Like, it's gonna send me into this pit of, I don't know, but I'm gonna lose everything if I get a DUI. Like, that's where my thought process is.
I'm sorry, let me touch on what Matt said here, because he was talking about my quick rundown of my story. Being behind bars has that effect. Well, hey, buddy, I never actually got put behind bars. They locked me outside of the holding cell I was restrained to a chair with the biter bag over my head, and I actually broke one of the leg restraints. So
I cannot
pretty
wait
big deal.
But yeah, so I got pulled over and never hit I got pulled over for speeding. And my last drink was like 3 hours prior to that. And this cop, so Lakeway police will pull you over if you're like 2 miles over the speed limit because that's who they are. They're bored. So I was 63 in a 50, and I thought it was 55. Or I thought the speed limit was 55 because it bounces back and forth.
Yeah.
It's not consistent at all, and it's stupid. And no cop has ever asked me this, and she was like, "Have you ever been arrested?" And I was like, "I'm getting arrested?" Like, it woke me up. I mean, at that point, like 3 hours later,
pardon me,
alcohol. Like, I knew I was fine, but part of me, like, my heart just sunk into my stomach, and I was like, "This is it." And I could just feel like this immense amount of guilt set in. This was this past weekend?
Mm-hmm.
Haven't touched alcohol since. Like, won't do it.
Yeah. I mean,
like, it's not.
You have to decide if it's worth it to you or not. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was my thing. It was like, this isn't worth it. This just isn't worth it, and I was done.
Yeah. And it's like, at what point do you get tired of ruining relationships and just being on this path of destruction, right? Like,
right.
When do you want to start building instead of trying to heal and build on foundation that's not going to hold you? Because when you're healing and building those relationships, there's nothing solid underneath them.
Right.
And those relationships are filling whatever void, and you start ignoring that void, and it's detrimental because eventually you're going to collapse. You can't build a house or have a house built on stilts. You just can't.
It's true. It's very true. So, I got put in the drunk tank several times, but the one that stood out was while I was drunk skating home on my skateboard. Yeah, so I got arrested in Tempe, Arizona, the day before St. Patrick's Day. The rest happened. I have to be passed out somewhere. Yeah, I got arrested the day before St. Patrick's Day. So I had shaved my mustache into a handlebar, like a Fu Manchu Hulk Hogan thing, and I had a mohawk, so I looked like a hooligan. I was just getting ready for the festivities, and I got pulled out of a cab that I was getting in by a bike cop in Tempe. Not a motorcycle cop, a bicycle cop.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Have you been drinking?" And I was like, "I had a beer like 2 hours ago. I'm just getting a cab for my friend whose girlfriend is puking on the side of the road. I got to get them home." He's like, "I don't care. You're impeding traffic." Blah, 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 blah. And then I went and spent the night. Huh?
Did he sound like that too?
Yeah. Right after he was like, "You're getting arrested," I was like, "You're nothing to me." And I proceeded to make fun of him for a while until the paddy wagon showed up. And what were they going to do? Because, he wasn't going to put me on his pegs. You know?
Did you say that to him?
Yeah. No, I can't remember exactly what I said to him. But I was just like, you had to call, like, you couldn't call somebody with the squad car. You had to call the whole truck for me. He was like, "This is just what was available." I was like, "This is what was available, man. You got a real hard life." Fucking hated that guy. But anyway.
He did arrest you, yes.
Yes. And so that actually got off my record. I went into I got that misdemeanor because I was arrested for jaywalking, because when they took my blood, they're like, "You're like well below any legal anything. Like, I don't understand why you were arrested." And I was like, "Me either." "Well, in his report, he said you were very drunk and belligerent." It's like, no, belligerent is one thing, because I was, but wasn't drunk that time. But so anyway, so I had to go to this adult diversion program to learn, signs of alcoholism and don't do this again and blah, blah, blah. And then I had to go to another class, and it was people like, they're like, "Yeah, this is my third DUI. I killed a guy on a bicycle," shit like that in this class. And they're like, "What are you here for?" And I was like, "I crossed the street." And that should have been a wake up call, but instead I saw it as I'm not as fucked up as these morons. Party, party, party.
Right. Do you know who Corey Morrow is? He's based out of Austin, country artist-ish.
Sounds very familiar.
Yeah, so he went down like this whole bender, and he's shared his testimony and his story.
Good night, brother. I love you.
Who are we saying good night to?
Matt.
Hey, Matt. And he'd said something so intelligent, and this was back in 2019, and it was, a little bit of something leads to a little bit of more. Mm-hmm. And that leads to more and more and more. And it's like, to this day, this was 3 years ago, but to this day, that still resonates with me, right? Like, it's just one vodka water on the dance floor. And then it turns into a Jello shot. And then it turns into 2 more vodka waters. It was funny. I went out for my birthday to Mavericks, and you know this name, so I'm going to say this name. DJ Barnes was bartending behind yeah. He used to dance with Country Strong.
I'd probably recognize if I saw him.
So
I'm bad with names. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, so he was bartending, and he's like, "Well, your first drink's on me." He's like, "But wait, you don't drink." I had an out from the bartender. I was like, "I'm making an exception tonight."
Yep.
And I woke up the next morning, I was like, DJ would have covered me had I said, "No, don't let anyone buy me alcohol."
Yeah.
He would have filled my glass with water, and all I had to say was no. But I made one exception, which led to 6 or 7 more exceptions that night. And I'm like,
It's wild. Like you'll probably call it God, but the universe provides us that with, see, here's your gift,
Yeah.
and it's up to us to take it.
Right. I mean, and that's the thing. Like, there's always writing on the wall. It's not necessarily yours. And I said that before. You're not always going to recognize that handwriting, but you have to acknowledge it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when you don't, you end up down this path of nonsense. I think that's like the best way I can phrase it right now. It's just a path of nonsense.
Yep.
That you don't know how to get out of.
Is young Joey still bartending in the back bar?
I don't know. I don't go out enough.
Okay, he's an older gentleman at this point.
Oh gosh, he might be. He might be.
That's your guy.
That's my guy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Hi, Joey.
No. If you ever make one friend with any of the bartenders out there, you go find him. That's your man. That's the dude. Okay. And he'll have your back. You tell him exactly what's up. That's the only bartender you go to. He'll make it sure 100% nothing ever comes your way. That's your guy.
Okay. I'll keep an eye out for him.
He usually works at the back corner bar at the at Pflugerville.
So that's where DJ was working. I'll have to ask DJ if Joey's still there.
He might not be. I don't know. But
that was my first time in 4 years, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't been back in a while either.
Yeah, because you decided to hate Texas and leave.
I will never hate Texas. I will never hate Texas. Arizona. No, because if Brittany didn't have this custody agreement with her ex-husband, she would have been there with me. But this podcast wouldn't exist if that was.
It's a fair trade. Podcast for Texas. Texas for.
I mean, like my kids. I'm telling you, like, there's one of those things I was always just like, I'm not ready for this. I'm so scared, I don't want to be a dad. This is fuck. Oh man, everything's gonna be so fucked up, blah, blah, blah. The moment I saw Ruth, I was like, this is where I'm supposed to be, and this is what love is. Holy shit. So
I love that.
So here I am.
Mr. Giant Teddy Bear.
Don't tell anybody. Ruins my mystique.
I mean, everyone knows where I live, so they need to know about that. Just told 18 million people where I live.
All 20s of people that are going to see this are going to be right.
Hey,
and a couple
he's loyal.
And a couple Indian guys that are here from another episode on accident.
It's funny because I'm half Indian.
Well, we named an episode back in the day. And it has a porn star's name in the title.
Oh gosh.
So it's still one of our most viewed episodes ever. But,
easily,
easily by miles. But the runtime is like a minute of like keeping people's attention. Oh, this isn't porn. This is assholes just talking.
Something about being sober and shit.
Mm-hmm. Why is that lady yelling at that guy?
I can't.
Anyway. Well, I got nothing left to ask you.
I got nothing else to say.
Well, let's go.
Hold on a second. You have a whole show you're working on, right?
Oh, yeah. Plug your shit.
Tell these people, first of all, there's another person that's involved, right?
Yeah, so me and my best friend, Lindsay McNary, she's out in Norfolk, Nebraska. I don't know what street she lives on, but
for the best.
How has two amazing kids. And so I pitched this podcast idea to her last year, and we were going to call it "What Is Life?" And it never stuck. Like, I was like, okay, well, what is life in regards to what? And never followed through on it or anything. And so about 3 weeks ago, I was like, Lindsay, we need to do this podcast. And she's going through her divorce and separation and all of that. And she's like, I'm down. So we called it the Untitled Podcast, and we talk about just different aspects of life. And of course, you've got, I don't know if Jake, you got a chance to listen to it, but we just go on two separate tangents every like 5 minutes, and it's stupid. It's really stupid, but each week is a different topic. You know, the first week was identity. This next week is transformation. And of course, Jake, we're going to have you on for that. But yeah, it's literally called the Untitled Podcast, and each episode is part 1 and then part 2 and part 3, because there's no, I mean, if you try to name something and try so hard to name something, it just sounds stupid. So it's just untitled. It's untitled. It's me and my best friend Lindsay, who we hated each other 10 years ago.
Was alcohol involved in that?
No. Okay. So we were in a debate and communications class together. And when we were younger, two very ends of the political spectrum. And there was one point where I literally looked at her and I was like, stop talking, you're stupid and you're not right. And we would just go back and forth as, you know, like stupid freshmen and sophomores in college. And she was younger than me, and she just pissed me the fuck off. And there was one night, it was right before the very first day of class. And she's like, let's go out, let's go drink. And I was like, no, like, I know this professor. I've had her before. I'm Indian. She's Indian. We have to get along. I'm not going out with you. And so class started at 8:05 in the morning. Stupid early morning classes. And Lindsay McNary calls me 6 times the night before because she's out on in this little town called Aggieville, like bar district in Manhattan, Kansas. Calling me, blowing my phone up. And of course, I'm up every hour answering her damn phone calls. I get to class with 2 of our other friends, and us 4 had decided to take this class together. Like, we intentionally chose this class for my last semester of college. And it's 8:05. Lindsay doesn't show up. 8:15, no Lindsay. 8:45. Mind you, this class goes till 9:15. Lindsay shows up at 8:55 in the morning. We've all done our introductions and all of that. And she walks in and she's like, hi, I'm Lindsay. I'm bad at mornings. And I'm sitting front row, just tired and drained because she woke me up every hour. I looked at her. I was like, I fucking hate you. And I sit back down. But the backstory is she got pregnant before graduation and told me the day before my graduation. And, you know, it goes through this whole story of us not talking to each other for 1.5 years and us coming back together and connecting. And yeah, now we just talk shit for 2 hours every week, and it doesn't make sense. And there's squirrels and ADHD moments. It's great.
That's okay. That's okay. That's okay.
Yeah.
That's what this show is.
Yeah,
Exactly,
it's 11:30.
exactly.
It's 11:30.
Ryan and I have some pretty good points in between some of the nonsense from time to time, though. So
Yeah.
But
I
the
love
best
it.
the best thing I think that I get anyway on my end, helping Jake and previously Paul, his old co-host, was the idea that us as grown men got a place to talk, got a place
Yeah.
to vent, got a place to release. And so apart from the sobriety nature of the show and the fitness aspect, it's also about just being able to release to where you can go back to your life without all of the tension that you carry naturally, being a provider, being whatever that falls into. And so, yeah, we ramble a lot, but there are also gems inside of all that rambling, but all of it is conducive to the point of some type of therapy to where you don't have to go sit with some stranger you don't know that you're paying and have them listen to you. It's like all of that, but it's free, and it's with people who genuinely have your best interest in mind. So
Right. And
if you're
that's the thing about podcasts, right? Like you find your person, you find your co-host, and you go through life with them on a completely different level. Like you say things you never thought you would say to them, which I love. Like Lindsay and I were on the phone last night, and I was like, yeah, and I date older. And she's like, it's because you have daddy issues.
Dang.
Like we're on the phone. And I was like, she's like, that wasn't sugar-coated very well. And I was like, no, but I'm not mad about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yeah, well, you have commitment issues, so there's that. I love her to death. But, you go through this journey, and it's so fun. It's so fun. And she was a journalism major. I was a communication studies major, so
oh shit,
same college of education, and just had plenty of classes together. Way too many.
That was something I was going to ask you about, but I don't know if you have the time to get into it. But I saw something, you were very open about your abortion you had at 17.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you said it was did I read that you said it was your stepdad?
No, so my mom had an affair.
Okay.
So the man who raised me is not my biological dad.
Okay.
And he had started coming to my room when I was about 4 years old. And I was getting ready to leave for college on a track scholarship, and I knew I needed an education further than high school because I wouldn't be where I am today without that education. But yeah, so I was 17, and I walked up to my best friend's mom. I was like, I need someone to talk to. But growing up in the Indian culture, and I mean, and I hate to like dish on it so much, but it's so manipulative and just full of narcissists. I mean, we're all a little bit of a narcissist when it comes to the end of the day. But, it was, if you tell anyone what's happening at home, they're going to take you away. And it came across in such a way where it was just manipulative, right? Like it's this fear tactic. There's not going to be consequences for us, but there's going to be a consequence for you. And I remember walking up to a friend's mom who didn't know my parents, which was super hard to find in Naperville, where it's like, you have the Indian community and everyone knows everyone. And I was like, I don't know what to do. And she walked me through my options. I was like, I've got to go to college. I need to get away from Illinois. I can't look back here. Like, I can't live here. And I look back now, and of course, just being in the position that I'm at now, like, the concept of an abortion, I mean, believe whatever you want to believe. It doesn't sit right with me anymore. I was a freshman in college. So I had the abortion in August of 2011. I turned 18 at the end of August. And my second semester of freshman year, we got, like, in English class, we got assigned topics for, like, our semester essay or whatever. And my topic was partial birth abortions.
Ooh.
And, I mean, talk about God or the universe or whatever at that point. It was like, I felt like I had been slapped in the face just with that assignment. Like, I begged my professor to let me switch topics, and she's like, no, I don't do that. She's like, we don't switch topics here. I was like, okay. And that, I mean, like, my entire life changed with that. But yeah, so the man who raised me was very abusive. My mom who raised me, very abusive. I just got to know my biological dad about 2 years ago. I wrote him a letter for the first time, and he is just a phenomenal human being. He's like, if I had known you even existed, he's like, you'd be living with me. He's like, I would have raised you.
Yeah.
And so just having that, like, breath of love amidst all of the turmoil that, like, I grew up with, it was just a reality check. He doesn't drink. He's never had a sip of alcohol in his life. And he has 6 other kids, so I'm the oldest of 7. Which is just, I mean, I love that family. Like, they are my family.
That's cool.
So, yeah.
Well, I mean, it sucks that you had to go through all that crap to find some happiness in it, but we wouldn't be who we are today without our nonsense, right?
Absolutely. And I mean, that's what I love about it, right? Like, I wouldn't go back and say I want to do the exact same things, but I'd go back and be like, hey, you're going to be okay. Whatever you go through in life, you're going to be okay at the end of it. And there's just a reality to that, right? Like, it's, if you want to face the okay seasons, you have to go through the crappy ones. You really do.
Mm-hmm.
It toughens you, it strengthens you, and it humbles you.
There you
It
go.
humbles you. Yeah.
Humble. Iron Sheik. Make them humble. I need to go to bed. My ass is up at 4.
I have to work at 7.
Yeah. It's night time.
It is night time.
Well, thank you
I'll
so
text
much.
you. Yeah, thank you for having me. I'll text you details. Let me
Yeah.
talk to Lindsay.
Just let me know because I have to clear it with the boss.
Your wife.
Oh, yeah. And then because juggling the children's it's an art. It has to be done correctly.
The army of children that you have, the adorable. You should bring the kids on the podcast.
Wow.
We've done that. We've done that. There's definite Ruth episodes.
I love it.
I'll send you one.
Is it gonna melt my heart, my cold, dark, decrepit heart?
Maybe. I don't know.
Did you listen to the pirate?
Ma'am?
Did you listen to the pirate song?
I did not yet.
You're gonna enjoy it.
What is this?
So she sent me. She was like, "You have to listen to this song," and I was like, "Okay." And so let me pull up my.
It's Valhalla Calling by Peyton Parrish. By Peyton Parrish.
Valhalla Calling. Peyton Parrish.
You don't really know what he's saying, but it's cool. I never exited my goth days, so.
Well, you gotta have them. Gotta have your goth face. I have a picture of me wearing some eyeliner somewhere. I'll get it. I'll find it and put it up someday. But anyway, that's it.
All right.
Thank you for listening to the Sober Swole podcast. My name is Jake Howard.
I'm the guy behind the curtain.
Good night, everybody.
Hey, it's Warhorse. Do you want your workouts to look like this? Or do you want your workouts to slay? When Warhorse picks his pre-workout, he wants it to slay. If you want second place, go with somebody else. If you want to be a champion, go with Royalty Nutrition.